You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everything is going well for you. No, I haven't been uploading for a little while. I was with family, had to do some self-care, but nevertheless, I'm here. And again, I appreciate the support, and I appreciate a lot of y'all still being subscribed and still being members to my channel. So let's get into this right away. So I wanted to get into this situation because I thought it was very interesting. Now, keep in mind, I am a classic chick, okay? Meaning I'm in my middle 40s. So a lot of the music today, I really cannot relate to. I'm from that era of the LL Cool J and Mos Def and Wu-Tang and Kool Moe Dee and I'm just an old school hip hop lover at its finest. I embrace old school hip hop. However, I am aware that hip hop is different because times is different. So the drill music era has really taken over, and that is that's the new vibe that these young people are pretty much drawn to, is the drill music. So keep in mind that the situation that I'm getting ready to go into is in reference to somewhat a drill rapper, okay? So my classic people, just bear with me. You may not even know this rapper that I'm talking about. Hell, I don't even know him. I've heard of him, but it's not so much in relation to him specifically, but in relation to the mother of his child who had a domestic disturbance with the father of her child. So follow me. There's a lot that's entailed with this, but we're going to break it down to the lowest common denominator. That way everybody's on the same page and we all are on the same note and everybody understands where we're coming from. So some of y'all may be familiar with the rapper by the name of Little Durk, okay? He's one of those drill rappers. If you're familiar with King Von, NBA Youngboy, the Amigos, he's somewhere in that genre of music, okay? But everybody's been talking about the situation surrounding his baby mama. So I'm going to just read the article. We're going to get right into it and get it popping, right? Because it's just a whole lot that's intel with this situation. So rapper Little Durk's 10-year-old son shoots his stepfather to protect his mother during a domestic dispute. Okay, so basically what's going on is rapper Little Durk has a 10-year-old son. Okay, keep in mind he has several children. Okay, he's a father of 10. I think it's like 5 boys, 5 girls. So he's on that Nick Cannon vibe, if you will. So one of the mother out of his 10 children had a domestic dispute that involved his son. All right. So the 10-year-old son of rapper Lil Durk allegedly shot his stepfather during a domestic dispute with the youngster's mother. Surveillance cameras captured the moment the child allegedly grabbed the weapon from his stepdad, Joshua Pippins, and then aimed the gun at him before firing. In video footage, Pippins, seen in the orange, can be seen attempting to try to restrain the child's mother wearing purple. Now, I will leave the link in the comment section so you can kind of follow the description of the incident that's going on. I'm not going to show it over here because YouTube is extra. They look for any little reason to flag your video, so I'm just not going to post a video in it, right? So, but I might put a still shot just so y'all can have a better visual. But in the middle of the fiasco, the child, Little Durk's son, he's going to be wearing a red t-shirt, right? And shorts. He aims what appears to be a weapon directly at Pippins, his stepfather. The video then cuts as the brawl spills over from the sidewalk and onto the street as the couple continue to argue. The child then points the weapon at Pippins as a single gunshot rings out. Pippins can then be seen falling to the ground after being struck. The shooting incident occurred July 1st, since which time Pippins has spoken out from the hospital bed. Pippins wrote on social media that he was not the aggressor and that the young child was simply following the orders of his mother. Okay? So basically, this was not something the young man wanted to do. He was basically following the instructions of his toxic mother. So, Pippin continues to say online from his hospital bed, as y'all can see, I was not the aggressor. And y'all also can see how I still had my gun on my hip. He grabbed my gun off my hip, following his mom's orders, and tried to shoot me and then actually shot at me. Actually shot me, okay? Because he was struck. My gun was on my hip and I was trying to protect myself from being shot. He further explains. I never in a million years thought a kid I bought four-wheelers and paid for football leagues and everything would do this. But he only knows what his mom shows him, Pippin says. I still love him like he's mine. Pippin suggested that the argument may have been about custody arrangements over a child the couple share. So keep in mind, even though little Durk's 10-year-old son, and his name is Jerome, by the way, even though Jerome was only doing what his mother said, it was in reference to Pippin's and his mother having some type of disagreement with the child they have together. So Mr. Pippins also has a child from the mother in this situation as well. So I'm going to also pull up the police report so that way I could also give y'all a lot more dialogue on it. But the mother's name is Miss Collier. I'm going to just call her Miss Collier. And basically, Mr. Pippins and Mrs. Collier do share a child together, okay? I just want to make sure everybody follow me on this, right? So, that's basically what the argument was about, okay? They was having differences with their own child. Pippins was catching a lot of flack, okay? The way the media basically narrated the story, they made it seem like Mr. Joshua Pippins, basically struck or put his hands on this woman. So, because Instagram and social media, unfortunately, everybody being aware of the situation without having 100% facts gives leeway to everybody giving an opinion, twisting the narratives. So the main narrative that's been going around is that a lot of people felt Jerome, the 10-year-old little Durk's son, was in the right to shoot Joshua, Mr. Pippins, because they was going off the assumption that Mr. Pippins had hit this woman. And basically, little Durk's son was defending his mother. If that was the case, okay, that would have been legitimate. But that was not the case. Mr. Pippin was not, and I repeat, was not hitting Mrs. Collier, the mother of little Durk's son. What he was doing was trying to restrain her, okay? But looking at the video footage, anybody who didn't really pay attention or wasn't there from the beginning, they would assume that him restraining her was because he initially was assumed to have physically struck this woman. But in the police report that I'm going to get ready to read to y'all, we're going to know that this man is in the clear. He did not put his hands on this woman, because that is what everybody assuming. Everybody's gunning after him, throwing shade at him, calling him a woman beater. And this is why he's speaking out, giving his side of the story, because he tried to be silent, but it's too many people that's labeling him as a woman beater, and that was not the case. But we're going to continue with this. So he felt it was necessary to have to reply. So he replies and says, whatever makes y'all feel better. That's why I got custody of my kids and she don't. Y'all so internet Thank God it was me that took the shot and not her, he posted. Listen, nobody's going to jail or they would already be there. I'm doing this for rights over my kids. Call me what y'all want. And on top of that, this was at my mother's home in front of my mama, granny, and more kids. So this happened on the property of his mother's home. He continues, I pray y'all make it through y'all situation, that God gonna put y'all, I guess he meant that God don't put y'all through the same thing for playing with me, he added. Meanwhile, rapper Little Durk, who has 10 children, 5 girls and 5 boys, has so far not commented on this incident. You know, and that'll probably be the best thing right now because he was not there. So nobody really needs to give Little Durk any flack about how he responds to the situation because there's nothing for him to respond to. So, basically with the story here, as more details unfold, it's going to make more sense and it's going to become more evident. It was the mother who was the aggressor, who basically caused this situation to escalate. And we had 2 adults that did not handle this situation correctly. I do hold Mr. Pippins accountable to a degree, but I more so hold Mrs. Collier's, the mother, to a degree because she was the aggressor and she was the one who provoked it and got it to this point. So for those of you who don't want to believe that Mrs. Collier's was the aggressor, I am going to read the police report from the actual Indiana Police Department, where the report is going to confirm that it was indeed Lil Durk's mother who was the one at fault, who was the initial aggressor in this whole situation, and her own son even rats her out in the police report and says it. And he didn't really rat her out. He was just telling the truth because kids know how their parents are. So by no means was he trying to make his mother look bad. He just told it like it was because you know kids are just going to be honest for the most part. So let's read the police report, right? Police report goes as follows. On July 2nd, 2024, FCM Dow interviewed Jerome Harris, which is the 10-year-old Little Durk's son, at the homicide office as part of this assessment investigation. Jerome stated when he and his mother returned to Mr. Pippin's mother's home on July 1st, Miss Collier and Mr. Pippins were in a verbal fight. Jerome stated he kept telling his mother to stop fighting with Mr. Pippins. Jerome stated he then got out the car and went over and pushed Mr. Pippins. FCM Dow asked Jerome if Miss Collier had a weapon, and he said yes, but hers didn't go off. FCM Dow asked if Mr. Pippin was trying to get his weapon away from Miss Collier, and Jerome stated yes. Jerome then admitted to the FCM Dow Mr. Pippin's weapon had fallen to the ground during the struggle, and he picked the weapon up and shot Mr. Pippins to protect Miss Collier, his mom. Jerome stated that he was scared that his mother was going to get shot. FCM Dow asked Jerome if there had ever been any, I guess they meant domestic violence between Mr. Pippins and Miss Collier in the past, and Jerome stated they would yell at each other a lot. Jerome stated these lines are all mumble jumble. Jerome stated Miss Collier's gets really mad really fast. So Jerome is implying that, hey, there's never been any domestic violence. So Mr. Pippins has no history of putting his hands on this woman, because even her son implied that anytime they had any disputes, it was always verbal but never physical. I'm sure if this man had ever struck his mother, he would have definitely aired it and told it, but he did not say that. So therefore Mr. Pippins does not have a history or any behavioral issues with putting his hands on Miss Collier. However, if you pay attention, I just stated that Jerome said that his mother gets really mad and she gets mad really fast, which indicates that the mother is an aggressor. She is a hothead. She does not have any control or discipline over her behavior. So her son said this. This ain't something I came up with or I got from another blogger. It's in the police report, right? So let me continue. Jerome, at vulnerable ages, and are reliant upon caregivers to ensure a safe and stable home environment free from domestic issues and negligence. It is unlikely the aforementioned concerns will be addressed without the coercive intervention of the court. Based on the aforementioned, the India Department of Child Services respectfully requests the court find Jerome Ellis, and they blocked out a lot of stuff, y'all. I guess that's for confidential reasons. But to be in children in need of services and find the coercive intervention of the court to be necessary in order to ensure the safety and well-being of the children. So it is being requested that little Durk's son, Jerome, is to be removed. Not only him, any of the children under the mother's care must be removed from her. It didn't say the fathers, from her. So this further lets us know that Mr. Pippins was not the aggressor. The baby mother, something, somewhere, they don't trust the kids to be under her care. And if you think about it, righteously so, because it was her weapon that her son shouldn't even had access to. You get what I'm saying? But we're going to go ahead and continue. So, going to right along, DCS is recommending continued custody. DCS requested authorization for alleviative care, kinship care, foster care, and ESC. DCS recommends unsupervised visitation for Mr. Joshua Pippins and Mr. Durk Banks, which is rapper Little Durk. So, if y'all really think about this, we all know when it comes to the system, most of the time it makes decisions that are in the best interest of the mother. We know usually it gives the mother full custody. It gives the mother the majority of the rights. And very rarely do men, for the most part, get those type of rights. This speaks volumes. Do y'all understand? Do y'all really understand that because DCS is recommending the father get these children, that tells you that they find Mrs. Collier's unfit as a parent. Very rarely does DCS, Child Protective Services, they very rarely take a child from the mother unless the mother is on drugs, unless the mother is physically abusive, unless the mother is straight up neglectful, don't have no food, just depriving the children of the basic necessities. DCS does not find little Durk's baby mama. They don't find her fit for these children to be in her care. They rather the children be with the fathers. By the way, I see in the report her name is Travana Collier. Travana. So they don't feel that little Durk's mother, Travana, is fit to be a parent. They're recommending that both fathers get unsupervised visitation, which means the courts trust the fathers more than they trust the mother who gave birth to these children. Now, if that's not an insult, I don't know what is. So there's a couple of factors here. For the courts to recommend that the fathers get custody of these children, it's either already been several prior incidences that's already on file, and I'm sure this may come out later, allegedly, if this is the case. By the way, anything I say in this video is alleged based off my opinion. If I get anything wrong, if there's something I missed, you're welcome to put it in the chat. Just do it respectfully. Don't come over here with, you don't know what you're talking about, this and that. Just throw in what you might know, and it is what it is, because I'm getting this information from several different sources, right? So, that's what's going on. And it's the audacity of everybody coming at, coming at Joshua, who really did nothing wrong. Well, I would say this. Let me just start off by saying this. I hold both adults accountable. What I hold Joshua accountable is that he should know that Travana is a hood booger, a hood rat queen. In other words, a very confrontational female. A lot of the times when men have children from confrontational females who like to argue, who like to fight and put the paws on you, whatever. Once he saw things escalating, him as a man, he should have walked away. He's probably looking back and reflecting and realizing he probably should have not allowed it to get to that point. But he could have ended up dead just over an emotionally high moment. You get what I'm saying? Because the young man, he was worried about his mother. Righteously so. In the heat of the moment like that, you can say what you would do, what you wouldn't do, but when temperatures are on high, there's no telling what direction mentally, what's going to lead you to handle things in an incorrect manner. So the young man was doing what any young man would do. He was fearful for his mother. It's not that he hated his stepfather. If he hated his stepfather, he would have said that in a police report. He would have said, I can't stand this ninja. He always beating up on my mama. I'm sick of him. Y'all need to lock him up. He did not say such a thing. So the fact that this young man was willing to protect his mother and still not throw his stepdad up under the bus, it shows that this young man is wise enough to understand that he loves his mama, but his mama is a hot ass mess. He did not want Mr. Collier to just go down without, letting it be known that his mother has anger issues. And I commend him because some of these women got their sons so brainwashed. I've seen young men lie blatantly, knowing their father or stepfather didn't do anything, but because the mother had them just out brainwashed, they will make them admit to things that they know was not true. So just the fact that this young man has his own mind to a degree and will not let his mother 100% manipulate him, he's telling the facts. Hey, my mama, she gets angry. She turns up. He even tried to get her, Mom, let's go on, let's leave. Nah, the baby mama was in her feelings. She came over there on 1,000. Then doing it at this man's mama's house. It just goes to show the ratchet nature of this female. Now, keep in mind during the altercation, he was trying to restrain her. Anytime a man has to restrain a woman, it's for one or two reasons. Either one, he knows that she will put the paws on him. Let's just face it. You got some females that love to fight. They will throw paws on a man in a heartbeat. Especially a man who does not hit women. They take full advantage of that. There are women who will punch, slap, kick. All because a man has enough discipline and self-restraint not to knock her ass back out. You feel me? You got some women that do that. And the men who have taken that type of abuse because I got to be a man. I can't let her think I'm soft. I was raised by my toxic mama not to hit women or whatever the case is. He automatically restrains because he knows if I don't restrain her, she's going to hit me. Why? Because he's been with her long enough to know she has a history of putting hands on him. You got some women that are very, very violent that will put their hands on a man and will not think twice about it. But once that man hits them back, oh my God, he abused me. He is a threat to my well-being. And known behind closed doors, she's a goddamn Hurricane Katrina. She fights, beats, kicks, punches, and the one time a man can't take it no more and he strikes back. Here's this Lifetime movie theatrics. And I'm against violence. I don't think no man should hit a woman, period. I would never condone violence. And I definitely don't think any woman should think it's okay to hit a man because he's a man and she's a woman. It don't work that way. Walk away. Get you some fresh air. Go have you a drink or something. Get away from each other until the situation this escalates. Or the second reason, a man may restrain a female is because he knows if he hits her, he stands a higher risk of losing everything. So one or two of those reasons a man will restrain a woman. And it takes a lot of discipline because some of these men are hyper masculine. So they will fight a woman just as quick as she fights him. But for a man who has discipline and the calmness to be able to think through, that takes a lot of discipline to be able to keep your composure and restrain a woman. That's the first thing that comes to your mind versus striking her or punching in her face. That takes a lot of restraint and self-discipline. And I commend any man whose first reaction is to restrain a woman versus pounding the mess out of her. Because see, men have a type of strength in which they can actually unalive a woman with one punch. And that's why as women, we have to be careful with our mouthpiece. We have to be careful putting our hands, because it takes that one time he loses his calmness and he strikes you just once. He can hurt you enough to where you can see the glory. You'll be crossing over in a quickness, right? So this man restrained her because he probably knows, for the most part, she's a hothead. I know he knows it. Hell, her son knows it, right? So he posts a couple of things on his Instagram because, like I said, a lot of people have been coming for him. A lot of people did not know. That's why I'm letting y'all know, because I've read the police report that Lil Durk's son Jerome did not aim a gun and shoot this man because this man was striking his mother. He feared it was a probability it would happen, and more so the mother instructed him. Is it all making sense? Do y'all realize that's why DCS is considering her unfit? Do y'all realize that's why DCS wants the children from out of her home? The fact that she allowed her son to get that close to a weapon. Any real mother would not want her child involved in any type of violent situation. I've seen mothers that say, hey, if I got to go, you take me. I'm not going to encourage my child to try to defend me and take your life, because she's thinking about her child's well-being. This female, this woman on the other hand, she was more concerned about, basically, trying to get the upper hand in a situation. And she didn't care if she had to use her son to do that. You feel me? And that was messed up on her behalf. And now it's costing her parental rights. And this is a prime example. And I wish more states would do this. They would stop allowing these women to get a pass because they're women. They need to start setting an example and making sure that these women are also held accountable for their children's well-being. She put her son's safety at stake. So I'm going to read some of his posts because, again, he's been trying to defend himself by posting a lot of these posts because a lot of people got the logistics of the story out of order. They think this man was beating up on little Durk's son's mama, and he was defending his mother because allegedly Mr. Pippins was beating up on his mother, but that was not the case. That was not the case. He only was doing what his mother told him to do because Mr. Pippins did not lay a finger on this woman. So anyway, he posts I already read the whatever makes y'all feel better. I told y'all about that one. And he puts another post because, again, so many people coming at him and dragging him through the mud, not getting any real facts or clarity on the story. He has to break his silence. He has to let it be known. He has to speak his side of the story because everybody going in on him. He posts, my weapon was on my hip and I was trying to protect myself from getting shot. I never in a million years thought a kid I bought 4-wheelers and paid for football leagues and everything would do this. But he only knows what mom shows him. I still love him like he's mine. there's a lot of volumes from that particular post within itself. This man is distraught. I don't think he's so much distraught. He's distraught to a degree about the young man shooting him, but the fact that he did so much is a slap in the face. And listen, being a step parent, I recently encountered that myself. To have a child disrespect you out the blue, who you have supported, who you have been there for, it is the ultimate betrayal. You feel me? So I've been in a similar situation. I wasn't shot at, but over misunderstanding, I was disrespected. And even though, you know, she did apologize 3-4 months down the line, my relationship would never be the same. You feel me? Only step parents who have been there, done that, can understand where I'm coming from. So, you know, the apology was accepted, but I would never feel safe, you know what I mean? Because sometimes a small misunderstanding will show you a person's real, true character, and it will show you how they really feel about you. So, you know, apologies are accepted, but, you know, I'll just never feel 100% comfortable. We'll never have that same relationship we once upon a time had, because I never saw that coming from her, just like Mr. Pippins didn't see that coming from Jerome, Lil Durk's son. Like I said, only those of us who've been there can truly understand. So Mr. Pippins is hurt. He feels betrayed. Now, I know y'all saying, okay, he had to buy him 4-wheelers and pay for football leagues. What about Lil Durk? His father's a millionaire drill rapper. Allegedly, this is what I heard, listening to various bloggers, that Lil Durk was really not there for Jerome in a sense, because he never really claimed him. He was one of the few that was left out. And allegedly, supposedly, they did do a blood test later on down the line, but by then, Jerome had already become an older boy, and Lil Durk did start coming around, you know, trying to make up for lost time. But for the most part, it was Mr. Pippins who was there filling in the gaps, until Lil Durk finally decided to come around and be more of a father. So he became the step-up stepdad, and this is the reason why a lot of men are backing up from stepping up, because at the end, children do have the tendency to betray you, okay? Depending on what happens, depending on if they get mad, depending on the situation, they will show you another side of them, and it will totally, like, you know, it's a slap in the face. It will disappoint you. So I think he's more hurt because he knows all the time and the money he invested into Jerome, you feel me? So, even after all of that, he still was man enough to say, I still got love for him, because I know he was only doing what his mother said do. So Mr. Pippins understands that Jerome was only following suit based off of what his mother said. And this is the reason why a lot of young black men do not have a relationship with their fathers, because they have allowed their mothers' feminine, toxic traits to rub off on them to the point they feel like they don't have to have a mind of their own. They just know to do what their mama say do. 50 Cent, prime example. That's why he has nothing to do with his oldest son, Marquise. Same reason. There's a lot of men who don't want to deal with their own sons or daughters, because their sons and their daughters have been brainwashed by that toxic female narcissistic traits. And it just really taints a man having the patience to even want to have a relationship with their own child. So anyway, based off that post, we can tell, you know, that he's very upset. He's very distraught that his stepson would do that to him. So he further posts some more posts, because again, when you, unfortunately, when your business is put out for the world to see, it gives everybody all type of room to opinionate, assassinate, you know, and drag you without knowing all the facts. And we know we are in a world in which people are gender stricken. People automatically gonna jump to the defense of women as soon as she cries wolf. Now, with Cassie's situation, it was different. She was trying to tell everybody how Diddy was. Nobody didn't want to believe it until the footage came out. And that's when people finally started respecting that all women are crying wolf. But in this case, this was she cried wolf type of situation. So he posts another post on his Instagram that says, as y'all can see, I was not the aggressor. And y'all can also see how I still had my weapon on my hip. He grabbed my weapon off my hip following his mom's lead and tried to shoot me and then actually shot me. I advise y'all see it before they take it down. Build awareness. So here's letting it be known. She's the aggressor. Watch the video, the footage before they take it down, because you know Durk got that kind of money. He got that kind of pull. He may try to run to his baby mama defense and have all of that stuff taken down. You feel me? So you just never know. You know what I mean? His story may not be heard. So he's putting it out there so people can evaluate and see the whole situation for what it is, instead of just automatically jumping to the defense of the mother because the son followed her orders to shoot him, not knowing that it wasn't because he was putting his hands on his mother. He just was following the orders of the mama, okay? So, he further puts another post. I was posting this ish for the city, Durk, and all that ish on my daughters. That ish ain't got nothing to do with him. People coming up with their own narrative. I'm a rat, I'm this, I'm that. But if I would have lost my life, I wouldn't be able to tell my side of the story. I would be just another dead ninja. I don't give a F no more. I got custody of my kids. God don't like ugly. I pray he give y'all what y'all deserve, good or bad. So the reason he posted this was because everybody was basically saying he was a snitch. Why would you say that it was Jerome who shot you? And you know, it's crazy because the snitch culture, the no snitching, even when you explaining how somebody did something to you, it's called snitching. If you shot me, I'm not supposed to say you shot me. I mean, unless you in a gang, I guess that's a strict code that you got to abide by. But Mr. Pippins is not in no gang. He does not have to respect the no snitching policy. You know what I mean? If somebody robbed my house, you know what I'm saying, at gunpoint, I'm gonna tell who did it. Cause I don't know if you're going to come back and you know, try to finish off the job. This man got to explain what happened, because everybody thinking that he just beat this woman and that's why her son came and shot him. He has to speak his side of the story. But the proof is in the pudding, because he has custody of his kids. That already says a lot for itself right there. He posts another post and says, I pray y'all favorite rapper takes full custody of Romeo, and I get full custody of mine. Call me what y'all want to call me. It's about the kids at the end of the day. So he's even encouraging Lil Durk, hey man, get your son. I got my kids, you know. I wouldn't recommend. And at this point, Lil Durk is going to have to get Jerome, because if not, the state is going to put him in a foster home or group home. And we know those are not the best of alternatives when it comes to a child. And I won't be surprised if Lil Durk does. He seems like a stand-up young man. He does have, I mean, he got that Nick Cannon vibe thing going with the multiple baby mamas. By the end of the day, as long as you're taking care of your children, it is what it is. You feel me? So, at this point, everybody is jumping on the wrong bandwagon and not even understanding the whole issue at hand. It's very easy to want to jump to the defense of a woman, especially when you hear that her son had to be involved and shoot at the father. You know, a lot of people are assuming that Mr. Pippins brought this upon himself, and that's why Jerome shot him to defend his mother. And truth is, it should have never even escalated. It should have never gotten to that point. He should have never had a weapon in his presence. He is a minor. As a mother, Mrs. Collier's was way out of pocket. The law even recognizes she was way out of pocket. That is the reason why the Child Protective Services is urging that the fathers get involved. They are recommending that. I'm telling you what I know. Child Protective Services never tell fathers to come get their children. For them to recommend for these men to get these children, for these children to be removed from up under the care of Miss Collier's, do y'all understand what this speaks and what this says about her character? What this says about her parenting? This says she's not fit as a mother, as a woman. And it's a lot of women who play these type of games out here. And it just has not caught up with them. In this case, it did catch up with Mrs. Collier's. It caught up with her because her actions are the very reason all of that, even more so, was the reason this whole situation got out of pocket. You bring your son into your toxicity. And that was not fair to him because he's just a child. It's by a child's nature. If you think somebody's going to hurt your parent, you're going to jump in and defend your parent. So Jerome was not wrong. He was not wrong for his reaction. He was fearful for his mother. Just like that situation in Chicago, y'all probably don't remember, the years back when the woman was in a Chinese restaurant and how her and the other young guy got into a verbal dispute, and because she was getting loud with him and going back at him, I guess he didn't like her mouth or didn't like how she was addressing him, and he took it upon himself to say, "On my mama, I'ma knock the soul out of you if you don't shut up," or however, whatever words he verbalized. And because she wouldn't be quiet, he hit that woman, not knowing her son was out there in the car the whole time. So she called her son, let her son know, this man hit me. And what did her son do? Like any son who loves his mother, he came in there and he shot the man and unalived the man. Now, in that situation, that was warranted. Because what? He was protecting his mother. Most sons are going to protect their mothers. That is what Jerome was doing. Jerome was protecting his mother. Okay? So, he was not wrong in that sense. But, unfortunately, the mother abused her influence. And now she's going to have to live with the fact that her son's relationship will never be the same with his stepdad. And the fact that you have a lot of men out here who already are discouraging men from being step-up stepdads. The fact that she had a man that was close to her son, she's ruined that. She damaged that. So if she wanted to succeed in ruining her son from having an active father, because little Durk is a father, but he was an active father based off of the alleged narratives surrounding his relationship with Jerome. Mr. Pippins was there, and I'm sure he will always love Jerome as his son, but he will never feel safe again. And do I blame him? Absolutely not. In fact, I would suggest that Mr. Pippins never get involved with Mrs. Collier or Jerome. He has to protect himself at this point. He's a father. He has other children. If this young man is able to easily be influenced by his mother, he definitely cannot be a father figure to him. That is out. I don't blame him. I'm even recommending Mr. Pippins, keep on stepping. Don't even look back. Don't even try to rehash that relationship. you got to keep moving forward, because at the end of the day, that's his mother. And if she had that type of influence and he still did not mind shooting you, even though, like you said, you paid for his football leagues, you was there, you was a supportive, active father figure in his life, and he still allowed his mother to influence him, at this point, all of your good efforts have gone in vain. Just consider it a blessing. God is still going to bless you for being there for somebody else's child, but you got to move forward. I know me, the moment anybody's child tries to take my life, I'm sorry. I want nothing to do with you. Okay, because this man could have died, sir. You could have been taken away from your other children. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, Miss Collier's has succeeded in ruining and sabotaging Jerome from having a relationship with his stepfather. So hopefully little Durk is willing to step in and fulfill that spot, which really was his job to begin with, was to be a father to his son. That is his son. He created him, and he may have to pick up where Mr. Pippins left off at this point, because I don't think Mr. Pippins should put himself back in that same situation. You get what I'm saying? As far as Miss Collier's, ma'am, you created this. I think you intentionally pushed it to this point. This man was at his mother's house. Whatever discrepancies or differences you had, I don't feel it warranted a weapon being involved. It was totally uncalled for, and it just shows your mindset as a woman, that you was willing to throw your own son under the bus. And listen, we don't know psychologically what Jerome may go through with this. He may feel so guilty, so bad, because he's not going to be able to live with his mother. He's not going to have the same relationship he had with his stepfather. Hopefully this doesn't psychologically affect him to the point to where he feels guilty, where he may bring harm to himself or harm to someone else because of the events that transpire. These kids are very sensitive. You know, they can't take a whole lot. They can't handle a lot these days. And you know, social media is cruel. You know they're going to go at him. Man, you stupid man. How you let your mama sit up there and talk you into shooting your own stepdaddy, man. You soft, man. You know, let's face it. Social media has given everybody a lot of balls and courage to come at you reckless and to get disrespectful and to get out of pocket. So only time will tell how this situation will unfold. But anyway, this is why a lot of people, you have to be careful when you decide to take on that leadership role as a stepmother or a stepfather, because you really never really know how these kids are going to flip or twist on you. Even though you've been there and you've done everything for them, you just never really know. But hell, at the same time, your own children you give birth to, you never really know how they're going to flip on you as well. But anyway, what y'all think about this whole situation? Do you think that somehow in some way Jerome is going to be affected by his mother's influence that talked him into shooting his stepfather? Do you think the stepfather is going to rehash and be willing to let bygones be bygones and still have that relationship going with Jerome? Do y'all think little Durk is going to step in and you know, take on that role of being a father, even though they never really bonded, never really had a relationship? Let me know what y'all think about this. Women, stop abusing y'all position as women, thinking because you're a woman you could put your hands on a man, and because now that he's willing to step up to you and handle you back, now you using your son, or you using your children, or you using a law, you calling the police, lying to the police, saying a man hit you. All of that karma is going to come back and bite you. So you got to be careful when you play those games. As the saying goes, play stupid games, end up with stupid prizes. Hit that like button before y'all leave. Y'all be blessed. Take care. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.